Thank you. Thank you, Congresswoman Haaland. Thank you for the visit the other day. I enjoyed our visit. Thank you. If I ask you questions that others have, I apologize. I'm right now, believe it or not, monitoring 3 separate committee hearings. I apologize. You spoke movingly of your personal history. And
Senator, I'm so sorry. I can't hear you very well.
Senator, speak up just a little bit if you can, or turn your volume up, please.
Okay, I'm not sure. Okay, how about
That's
now?
better, much better, much better.
My mug right next to the thing.
You're up close and personal right now.
Yeah. If you could restart my 5 minutes, please, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, absolutely. Restart your 5.
Congresswoman Haaland, thank you. I enjoyed our visit. Your personal story is compelling. And one thing we spoke of are those families such as yours, and frankly, such as mine growing up, whose parents were able to have a better living because of something. In Louisiana, many of those better livings are related to oil and gas industry, pipelines, et cetera. And we understand that if there's kind of a campaign against them, there's many families which will have a less bright future. So with that said, let me first ask, do you agree with President Biden's executive order to stop the Keystone XL pipeline, knowing that 11,000 current or future jobs are eliminated because of it?
Senator, thank you so much for the question. And of course, I know that the Keystone has been, it's been an issue. Both sides very passionate on both sides. And with respect to President Biden's decision, it is his decision. He's the president. And so
then let me ask you this. And in the context, Senator Barrasso mentioned kind of your attitude, that your perception as to how Republicans view science. So if I could point to a State Department report based upon science, which said that building the pipeline lowers global greenhouse gas emissions, if you were the president, would you eliminate the pipeline with the 11,000 jobs and the futures that are less bright for those families, knowing that by not building it, based on science from the State Department, we would have increased global greenhouse gas emissions?
Senator, thank you. I will be happy to read any report. I'll be happy to be briefed.
No, but I can stipulate, if you'll just stipulate that, because that is a State Department report. That is the science. I'm just hoping, no offense, that Democrats pay attention to the science, and that's the nature of my question. So if you can accept that as a stipulation, I'm willing to get it for you. But I'm just trying to understand, is this administration going to be, and will your department be guided by a prejudice against fossil fuel, or will it be guided by science?
Senator, if I could just take the liberty of saying prejudice on fossil fuels perhaps isn't the way I would describe it. I would say that President Biden is feeling in moving toward the tremendous opportunities that we have in diversifying our energy
That's
resources.
it's kind of dodging my question, Congresswoman, and I don't mean to be rude, but if is your department going to be guided by science or by something other than science? Let me put it non-prejudicially, because clearly the Biden administration was not guided by science, and Republicans, by the way, are guided by science. I'm just seeing if this administration will be, and if your department will be.
I have stated many times that if I am confirmed, that the Interior Department's decisions will be guided by science.
Thank you. Now, there is a Wall Street Journal article recently pointing out that if the United States cuts its production of oil and gas, global demand will not be affected, but global supply will come from other countries. Intuitively, does that make sense to you?
I beg your pardon, Senator. I apologize if you could just repeat that once more.
So there was a recent article suggesting that even if the United States decreases production of oil and gas, that global demand will continue the same.
Well,
so I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I understand. I mean, we're hoping that when we create some of these clean energy opportunities, that perhaps that will change.
So when you're introduced by Congressman Young, he pointed out that 80% of a barrel of oil does not go for propulsion, rather it goes for the plastics and chemicals essential to the modernity. For example, making the products that go into a wind turbine, the carpet that we are both looking at right now, whatever room we are in. So given that, even if we have clean energy, that 80% of it goes for non-propulsion purposes, would you agree that it's quite likely that even in the rosiest scenario, there will continue to be demand for oil and gas?
Yes, Senator, and I did say that in my opening statement.
So I guess I'll finish by asking once more, even if we decrease production, is it reasonable to assume that global demand will remain roughly constant and that supply will come from other countries?
Well, I appreciate the logic that you're explaining to me. I guess I would hope that that moving forward, we will all realize that we have a stake in our own future. And
oh, I so believe that. I'll close by saying this, and it's the future of those families who just lost their jobs because of Keystone XL pipeline being shut down, and others involved in an industry producing a product that will be used worldwide. But perhaps if we're not guided by science and logic, they will lose their future. That's my concern. And I'm not being personal with you, but I am trying to represent those families right now who can't speak, but whose jobs are being cost for a political agenda, not based on science. I yield back.